Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me this afternoon. This is our first live kids cooking class. My name is Catherine, and I'm going to be cooking with you today. I'm really glad that you came and joined me. We're going to be making healthy, delicious, yummy Rise and Shine parfaits. So, what is a Rise and Shine parfait? If you checked out our website, you'll see that the ingredients on here are really simple and they're all healthy and delicious. So what's going to go into the Rise and Shine Parfait today is going to be some yogurt. You can have either vanilla yogurt. If you don't like vanilla, you can do plain yogurt. That's fine too. We have some granola. I just happened to pick up this one because it sounded really tasty. I also wanted to make sure that the granola didn't have a ton of sugar in it because sugar is yummy, but it's not super healthy for us. So if you are picking a granola, take a look at the back and see if you can find one in the list of ingredients that doesn't have a ton of sugar in it. This recipe calls for some fresh raspberries, which I have here, and also some fresh blackberries. That's great if you want to use those. If you don't like blackberries or raspberries and say you have, I don't know, apples or you have strawberries in your house, that's fine. You can use that too. Anything that you like that tastes good to you that's a fruit is totally fine to use. And then our final ingredient today is honey. I love honey. It also adds another sweetness to our parfait. So the first thing I always do before I start cooking is I wash my hands because we want to make sure that we have nice clean hands before we start to cook. So I'm going to go over to my sink right here. I'm going to give my hands a nice good scrub. And then the other thing I have with me is my towel here to dry my hands. It's always good to have a kitchen towel or paper towels around so that you can dry your hands or mop up any spills because sometimes those happen too. So the other thing that I want to tell you about before we start is that I've laid out some different tools here to help me make my parfaits. So I don't have a parfait glass, but I had this big water glass, and I think that that's probably good enough. I have measuring cups, so I have 1/4 of a cup. I'm going to use that one for my yogurt. And then I have another 1/4 of a cup that I'm going to use when I'm measuring my fruit. You don't have to measure your fruit if you don't want to. If you just kind of want to guess, that's fine too. But I'm going to use this measuring cup to measure my fruit. I have a strainer here that I'm going to use to rinse my fruit before I cut it up because I think it's always a good idea to try to rinse your fruit before you eat it. And then I also have a tablespoon that I'm going to use to measure my honey. That's the other thing is if you don't feel like measuring your honey, if you just want to do a couple pours over the top, I'll show you how to do that. But if you like to measure, that's fine. So these are the tools that you're going to need along with your ingredients to make your Rise and Shine parfait. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blackberries and I'm going to dump them into the strainer here. I'm going to bring them over to the sink and I'm going to give them a wash. You can just wash them, just give them a rinse. All right, so now my blackberries are all rinsed. I'm going to bring them over here and I'm going to put them down on my cutting board. It's up to you if you want to leave the blackberries whole or if you want to cut them up into pieces. Mine are kind of big. If you can see this one, it's kind of big. So I think I'm going to cut mine in half before I put them into my parfait. I'm also going to rinse my raspberries. The raspberries are smaller, so you do not have to rinse. You do not have to cut the raspberries if you think those are small enough. So I'm just dumping my raspberries here into my strainer. Okay, and I'm going to take the raspberries over to the sink. We're going to give these a rinse. Just rinse them really good. Then I'm going to grab my towel again that I used. I'm going to put it under here just so I don't drip water all over my floor and then trip on it later. All right, so I've got my raspberries and my blackberries on my cutting board. Oh, did I mention the cutting board? You're also going to need a cutting board. And you're going to need a small knife. So if you're using a knife, you want to make sure that you have an adult around with you because knives are sharp and they can hurt you. So please be very careful. If you don't have an adult with you and you don't have access to a knife, that's fine. You could just use the blackberries and the raspberries whole. You don't have to cut them up if you don't want to. So you can take out the knife entirely from this if you don't want to use it. So when my recipe calls for is to start with 1/4 of a cup of the yogurt. That's going to go on the bottom. Okay. So I'm just opening up my yogurt. I'm taking it out. What I did was I just put the measuring cup right in the yogurt. You could also use a spoon to dip into your yogurt and then put into your measuring cup. And you know what? It doesn't have to be perfect. So if you're a little under or you're a little over, that's totally fine. Now I'm actually going to take my Parfait cup here, move my yogurt out of the way, and I'm going to put my spoon and I'm just going to dump the yogurt right in the bottom. I'm so excited to try this. This could be like a healthy breakfast. This could be a snack, or you could even make this and then have it for dessert at night. I love dessert. Okay, so there we have the first layer done of the yogurt right in the bottom. The next layer is going to be 1/4 of a cup of the blackberries. I'm cutting my blackberry in half, okay? So I'm cutting it in half so it's just like this. You don't have to cut yours in half, though. If you don't want to, you can leave them whole. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in my measuring cup, and I want to definitely do some more blackberries because I want to get up to about 1/4 of a cup of blackberries in that cup. Okay, so that's 2, and then 3. Let me show you. You can see my 1/4 of a cup is starting to get a little bit more full, but I think I want to try to add one more blackberry to it because I love them so much. They're so tasty. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blackberries and I'm going to dump them right on top of that bottom layer of yogurt there. Okay. So our parfait is really starting to come together, right? Okay. Next, we're going to do the raspberries. I'm not going to cut my raspberries because they're smaller than the blackberries. So I'm going to take that 1/4 of a cup again, and I'm going to just start dumping raspberries in there. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I want to do 7. I think I can fit 8. I think maybe 9. I'm definitely going over 1/4 of a cup. My 1/4 of a cup is very full now, and I'm going to dump this in, okay? I love the colors too. So it's really pretty. So not only is it tasty, but it's really pretty. Okay, now we're going to go back to our yogurt. So I'm going to grab my 1/4 of a cup again. I'm going to use the same one that I used for the yogurt so I don't mix up the measuring cups. So I'm going to take my 1/4 of a cup and I'm going to dump it into my yogurt container. And like I said, you can get it perfect if you want to, but if you don't want to, if you want to get a little bit over or a little under, that's fine too. I think mine is a little bit over. I'm going to take my spoon and I'm dumping this again. Oh, this looks so good. Right into my Parfait cup. Okay. This looks really good, right? All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do one more layer of blackberries. So I just cut my blackberry in half. Another half. Another half. I think I can fit in. Oh, I think I can fit in one more blackberry. So this is my over the top 1/4 of a cup of blackberries. And I'm just going to dump these right on top there. My raspberries, I'm going to drop in again. So we're just layering this parfait. Okay, I got about, I don't know, I'd say 7 or 8 raspberries in there. Okay. And I'm going to dump them right on top, just like that. All right, let me show you. So we're getting so that we're almost to the top, but we have a couple more ingredients that we have to fit in before we get to the very top, okay? Our next ingredient is our granola. And this one we're going to want to do a quarter of a cup. You can do a quarter of a cup. If you want to do a half a cup, you can do half a cup. I also have a half a cup measuring cup here. I'm going to start off with a quarter and see how that seems to me, okay? So I'm just dumping my granola into my quarter of a cup. There, I have a quarter of a cup granola, and I'm going to dump it over the fruit. This is what it looks like. I like granola, so I'd like a little bit more. So I'm going to do another quarter of a cup. My granola also has some dried fruit in it. So you're getting some more fruit that way too, if your granola also has dried fruit in it. I'm going to dump this right over the top. Wow, this looks so yummy. I cannot wait to try this. Okay, we have one more ingredient left, and that's our honey, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my honey, and I'm going to take my 1 tablespoon, and I'm going to measure it out. So it's just going right into the tablespoon. Ooh, this looks so yummy. Okay. Now I'm going to see if it's going to come out. It will. You might have to use another little spoon, but this just came out really nicely, and I'm just drizzling it right over the very top of my parfait. I cannot wait to try this. I'm so excited. Okay. Try to get a close-up without spilling it so you can see it. So it's nice and coated now. All the granola is coated with that honey. And actually, I can see the honey kind of dripping down the side and going down to the different layers, which is really cool. I want to add 1 more tablespoon. If you don't like it super sweet, you might just want to hold off and just do the 1 tablespoon. But if you like things that are sweet, you can add another tablespoon of honey. And I'm just measuring this. You don't have to measure if you don't want to. If you want to put this, if you want to drizzle this right into your parfait, that's fine. You can do that. Got some music on in the background because I like listening to music while I cook. Helps me relax. Cooking is so much fun. Okay, so here comes my honey, nice and slow. And I'm just drizzling it right over the very top of that parfait. Okay. All right, now is my absolute favorite part of the cooking experience is when you get to taste what you made. So I'm going to get a clean spoon from my drawer. Okay. And I'm going to give this a nice big bite. I'm trying to get all of the layers. So I want to get a piece of fruit, and I also want to get the granola. I want to get the honey, and I want to get the yogurt. I want all the layers in one bite. That's really good. I can taste everything. I can taste the raspberries, the honey, the granola, the yogurt. I don't think I got a bite of blackberry in that one, but I'm going to get it in my next one. Now, you could make this and you don't have to eat it right away. So if you make this, and let's say you want to have it for a snack later, you can just put some, let me grab some. Some of the Stretch Tight right over the top, and you can just stick it in the fridge, and it will be there and ready for you to eat whenever you're hungry. Like I might eat half of this now, and then I might save the other half and put it in the fridge. So I'm just putting this right over the top. So this is our healthy, delicious Rise and Shine Parfait. I want to thank everyone who came and watched with me today. And I want to remind everybody that we have so many great cookbooks at the library in the children's room. We have them in the children's room, and we have them in the teen room, and we have adult cookbooks. So definitely make sure to check out our website, and you can put them on hold, and then you can check them out and cook lots of yummy recipes at home with your family. We're going to have another cooking video up next month, and then we'll also have one in May. So again, I just want to thank everyone so much for joining me today for our yummy, healthy Rise and Shine Parfait. Bye, everyone.